Today we're working on our planter. It's a 1770NT. We're going to go through the whole thing and check it all over and make sure everything is good to go for the season. This tire right here is really important. You got to make sure it's at 28 psi. It's what sets the population control. So you got to have this inflated to the proper pressure, otherwise you won't get the proper population. So what you got to do is this little cutout right here. You're gonna spin the tire so you can see the valve right there. So what we're doing here is checking all of our sensors for when the seed drops, the seed tube sensors. So he goes through and puts a brush through the sensor, and then it'll trigger every time if it's working on here. Here we have a seed tube out, and it's just made of plastic, so we're checking for wear, which this one has a little bit right here, and making sure that this doesn't get too thin. But other than this, it looks okay. So we're just going to go through and check all those. This is the sensor on the back that we went through with the brush. It tells you to make sure all your seed is going through and flowing evenly through the tube. And that's how it knows if there is no seed, and then it'll have a row failed. What I'm going to do is pull this one out, seed tube, and compare it to the first one. Okay, has a groove on it too. This one has a groove in it, same spot. This one doesn't look as normal. It's got like marks. I don't think it's supposed to be there, but I don't think it's hurting anything either. Unless there's a hole in it, obviously. It's like it's chipped away. You can see where it was like rubbing. I think it's on the frog. The frog moves. Yeah. So right here, there's a hook. And that slides in there. Hooks. And then these two tabs on the back just pop in. You're going to inspect your seal here. Most of the wear's here, inside here. This one does have some wear, but it's not horrible. And then all of your brushes right here will be the next thing you want to inspect. This one here is stair step, so that's supposed to be like that. This seal. That seal's pretty good. So this is our seed plate. This is a corn one. I'm gonna slip this one in. Just slip it in like this. So the next thing you want to do is, once you get your seed plate in, is you're going to want to go to the side here and unlock this, pull it out. There's an O-ring right here. Look at that over. And then you should be freely able to spin this. And what you don't want is it to free spin. So if it does freely spin, you would go in, take this out, and you'd go in here, pull this cotter pin out, and then you would go in and tighten or loosen however many turns it needs. Put the key back in, and then that would move it in or out depending on where you need it. You don't want it too tight either. So if it doesn't spin it at all and it's hard to turn, you'd have to move it out, and then vice versa. If it was loose, you'd have to move it in. One thing we did here at the seed tube right here is we were having problems in season once it's under pressure with these flying off and shooting seed out. So we actually went and just blocked the tabs with a zip tie. So right here you can see the tab that actually holds it, and then they would spin out. And so we just all you gotta do is block the opening, so then now they can't come off at all. And then we just keep a zip tie cutter with us. But if you don't have the zip tie, just remember that these are supposed to be a quarter of a turn over turn, because it's the tension that actually holds this on. But if you want to go a step further, like we did, also add a zip tie. It's been pretty handy. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do on this row is we're going to take these gauge wheels off. To get them off, all you got to do is take this bolt off right here. Okay, now that we have the gauge wheels off, we're going to take 2 business cards. And we're going to stick them. I have to give them a spin. Until they just catch. That's actually the contact point. Tape measure. And you just measure.
Do you remember how far apart they're supposed to be? 1 3/4 to 2 inches. Or if they measure more.
This one is measured more. So I'm going to pop this off and then take it off, and then you got to shim them. So some of these are reverse threaded on the openers, and I can never remember which side. So this one's reversed. Gotta tighten to get it off. Okay, we're gonna have to take these off now. Okay. These are the shims. Just thin washers. I think I'm just gonna take one off. Word of advice, always start this by hand, because if you cross thread them, yeah, right here to here, it's all one cast unit and bolts included. Check it again. It's a little over 2. So since I'm still at 2 inches, a little over, I'm gonna go to the other side and then take a shim off of this side so they're even.
Clean pretty close to you. We cleaned it out this evening.
One shim. Yeah, that's over.
You want to put the torque plate. I've already looked at them and they're okay.
We gotta add shims if it's too much. I just took 2 off and it got bigger, so we gotta add.
Do I have any on hand?
We used to. I can't remember if we used them all or not. So you know what that means. Do it again. Okay. Might as well add my 2 now. So we don't have enough shims, so that means a trip to local John Deere dealership. But first, I'm gonna go through and see how many of them are gonna need shims, so we can get an idea how many we need. So